Well, good morning, everyone. Uh, to all of you here in the sanctuary of the Metro East Unitarian Universalist congregation, and greetings to those watching the service remotely. This is a welcome religious community, and we're so glad you're here. I'm Keith Davis. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm delighted to welcome you all here today. And Vinny is also delighted to welcome everyone here today. So it's so good to see you all, whether you're new friends, longtime members, or returning folks. I hope that you will take the time during coffee hour to reach out to someone new and say hello and offer them a welcome. We welcome everyone to the home of comfort, spirit, justice, and hope. We are Unitarian Universalists. All right. So an important tradition in the Unitarian Universalist faith is the lighting of our chalice. Unitarian Universalists have many different interpretations of the flaming chalice, including the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. If you are watching elsewhere and have a chalice or candle, please light it now as we join in saying in unison words projected on the screen.
Always ongoing, always expanding. We light this chalice
in hope for the church, our community, and our world. May love center us always. Good job.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Eden, the pastoral assistant here at Metro East. Let us enter into a time of meditation and prayer. Animating life force, lead us into this place where we can feel the still turning of the world, quaking to be made whole again. Help us to get out of our own way so we can love each other and ourselves more fully. May this kind of love transform us through death into new life. Amen and blessed be. Welcome. I invite you to take a moment and greet someone you don't know very well this morning, or someone you know kind of well. And then we will stand and sing our first hymn. So, great. Hey. Yeah. I'm not gonna trip.
There is an extra chair up here, Tracy, so you're welcome to join us. Hi, Trouble. You mixed up my papers. Oh, there you go. What do you think? Want these? There we go.
It is our tradition here at Metro East UU congregation to place each service within the larger values that we as Unitarian Universalists hold dear. This week, we lift up all of them. And I wanted us to make our way through these words and contextualize them again for ourselves. Love suggests first that there is a relationship, and second, it's good. That there is not a being alone, but a being with. A kind of relationship that says, we are a people who center our identity around love. And how do we know that love is here? We know by interdependence, by place. This value locates us in relationship as not spectators or commentators with all that is, but a human part of reality itself. So we come here not as experts of anything, but as people who are finding their place. We're fine-tuning that ever more. We also hold pluralism. While acknowledging the universal ground, pluralism says we honor the particularity of belief, of culture, of status, of there's no purity test here. All are welcome, and we really mean that. There's nowhere we hope you arrive to be recognized as, one of us. You're already there. Justice is saying that love doesn't just pray, it acts. Love stands up. It creates boundaries when it isn't needed. Speaks up. Transformation, I think, says we grow, we evolve, we die to old way of thinking and doing, and we find new ways for love to make its way through us. Generosity, we give what we can. We value giving each other the benefit of the doubt, grace. And last, equity. We try the best to cultivate a space where everyone knows they belong and are empowered and supported to be in that full agency. So in that way, it brings us back to love. But these are the values. These are the spiraling ways that we conduct life here. And in that way, it leads us into our joys and sorrows. As part of our weekly worship service, we take a time to express joys and concerns or sorrows. Home for us means a place where we can each share the things that weigh down our souls or that fill us with joy, and where those we love surround us in good times and in the pain and suffering. If you would like to recognize the joy, the sorrow, or a milestone, you can come forward and place a stone or several stones in the water bowl to represent your joy or sorrow. There are stones here at the front. I invite you now to come forward down this aisle, take a stone, and then proceed back to your seat. And if you cannot make your way this way for any reason, we will place a stone for you, because we are a place that shares and bears each other's burdens and shares in the cares. So let us be in a spirit of prayer and meditation. We now invite everyone to watch our video for today's Time for All Ages. Today's theme is transformation. And after the video, we will sing our children.
Today we're going to read this book called Water Bugs and Dragonflies. It's by Doris Stickney. Down below the surface of a quiet pond lived a little colony of water bugs. They were a happy colony living far away from the sun. For many months they were very busy scurrying over the soft mud on the bottom of the pond. They did notice that every once in a while, one of their colonies seemed to lose interest in going about with its friends. Clinging to the stem of a pond lily, it gradually moved out of sight and was seen no more. "Look," said one of the water bugs to the other. "One of our colony is climbing up the lily stalk. Where do you suppose she's going?" Up, up, up it went slowly. Even as they watched, the water bug disappeared from sight. Its friends waited and waited, but it didn't return. "That's funny," said one water bug to the other. "Wasn't she happy here?" asked a second water bug. "Where do you suppose she went?" wondered a third. No one had an answer. They were greatly puzzled. Finally, one of the water bugs, a leader in the colony, gathered its friends together. "I have an idea. The next one of us who climbs up the lily stalk must promise to come back down and tell us where he or she went and why." "We promise," they all said solemnly. So on one spring day, not long after, the very water bug himself, who had suggested the plan, found himself climbing up the lily stalk. Up, up, up he went. Before he knew what was happening, he had broken through the surface of the water and fallen onto a broad green lily pad above. When he awoke, he looked about with surprise. He couldn't believe what he saw. A startling change had come to his old body. His movement revealed 4 silver wings and a long tail. Even as he struggled, he felt an impulse to move his wings. The warmth of the sun soon dried the moisture from his new body. He moved his wings again and suddenly found himself up above the water. He had become a dragonfly. Swooping and dipping in great curves, he flew around the air. He was exhilarated in this new atmosphere. By and by, the new dragonfly lighted happily on a lily pad to rest. Then it was that he chanced to look below to the bottom of the pond. He was right above his old friends, the water bugs. There they were, scurrying about, just as he had been doing some time before. Then the dragonfly remembered his promise. The next one of us who climbs up the lily stalk will come back and tell the other where they went and why. Without thinking, the dragonfly darted down. He hit the surface of the water and bounced immediately. Now that he was a dragonfly, he could no longer go into the water. "I can't return," he said in dismay. "At least I tried, but I can't keep my promise. And even if I could go back, not one of the water bugs would know me in my new body. I guess I'll just have to wait until they become dragonflies too. Then they'll understand what happened to me and where I went." And with that, the dragonfly winged off happily into its new wonderful world of sun and air.
So as the children make their way, we will sing our next hymn, 1052, The Oneness of Everything.
Far reborn in spring, to hear and to feel the pulse of life, and to my soul as a song to sing of the oneness of everything.
Hmm. Feels a little different to sing the oneness of everything with the amidst of all the things going on. But yet, we sing of it. We know it to be true. Last week, we talked about Passover, and I talked about a donkey, and no, but Jesus was riding on a donkey, and there was this hope. There was this hope that, there would be a new regime, there would be a new kind of way of doing life, in a government way, in a powerful way, and yet now, this week and Holy Week in the liturgical calendar of the Christian tradition, realize that maybe there's a different kind of reign. There's a different way of power that bows before death, to be transformed. And today we are at Easter, in that kind of march between Good Friday, he dies on the cross, he's raised 3 days later. That's where we find ourselves, in the Christian tradition. And I also want to say, acknowledging this tradition and looking at it and saying, what raised to what? What happened here? We've been talking about it for 2,000 years. Everybody's been disagreeing. Oh no! I know. So I wonder, in this time, in this context of where we find ourselves, Christianity, the church, it's not the institution it once was. So I hope that we can peer behind the curtain of that tradition to be curious, to say, what does it have to offer us today? And to see it for its contradictions, the tragedy, and the beauty of what it is, or maybe could have been. Before seminary, I did an internship with the Methodist Church, where I go to stay in a church basement with other 18 to 25-year-olds and work summer programs, working with children, doing food ministry. And it was the summer between graduating college and starting seminary that I met Robert and Carol Potter, both in their early 80s at the time. Robert is a veteran from the heart of the country, moved to Oregon after coming home from the war, and got his medical license to be a family doctor, to heal, to do something that changes. And he had a family and decided to go back to seminary. His interest in ethics and metaphysics drew him to spend the rest of his career teaching medical ethics, exploring the lands between life and death, conscious and unconscious, tracing the core arteries of life into lifelessness. The start of the pandemic interrupted my first year of seminary, but I still went to classes online, finished my degree in the normal 3 years, But after I graduated, I decided I was done with God, church, and religion. Watching the institutions of academia and church try to stay alive, you start to see the priorities they hold. More having to do with the bottom line than anything else. I took a job as a preschool teacher thinking I could go towards something meaningful. I'm not sure when Robert started to ask me how I was doing, but I ended up sharing with him what had become of me after seminary, not the pastor he thought I would be. He asked me if he could meet with me and be a spiritual friend to me, resolved that he wouldn't change my mind, but I should do an old man a favor. So I agreed. Undoing all ways of finding meeting during a global pandemic isn't something I would recommend, but it does give some clarity about what is meaningful. We met every Saturday morning for an hour. Robert pushed me to explore my own questions. He wouldn't settle for answers that he knew I really didn't believe. Because in seminary, I could play with ideas and satisfy the requirements, but not with Potter. He taught me that religion, and the Latin is religio, realignment, whatever makes oneself whole. And so, in academia, I wanted the right answer. I wanted the truth. As a queer person in the Christian church that I came from, why were they treating me as not the pastor I knew myself to be, not the person I knew myself to be in all of my dignity? That is confusing. But with Potter, I found a new truth through paradox. The ability to hold two opposing forces as true, and the necessary elements of creativity. He shared with me that he really didn't believe in God. As a Methodist. So much as the truth of creativity in everything. In his presence, I was able to give up on what I thought I should defend, or should be as a Christian, or not Christian, or believer, or not believer. That those two powers I could simply ride between, and it was okay to find creativity, to find life in between. To see the beauty in accepting what cannot be understood, and to merely understand that most all is left to be understood. I'm 3 years out of seminary. It left me with more questions than answers. And I'm still working my way through them, right? But I wanted to be in community. I wanted to be in a place that struggles with the big questions. And that didn't leave me. So here I find myself, and here we find each other, and the Easter message. So with that context, I hope to explore with some of the things that this old and young and complex religion, complex tradition, that can seem true or realigning. What can we see in the gaze of Easter? What is this nature of resurrection that we talk about, of rebirth? What is that? To investigate this, I wanted to bring the principle of honoring the people who are telling us this story, right? In the earliest account of Mark in the Christian Testament, there is no resurrection. There is only fear.
Only what?
Fear. It says, "Don't be alarmed," he said, when the women came to the tomb to dress his body in oil, to grieve the person they knew. An angel said to them, "You are looking for Jesus of Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him. But go tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him just as he told you." Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. Only later did we see inscriptions adding the resurrection, adding these witnessing and seeing Jesus in a resurrected form. But that's not until later. And really, I wonder if Easter, and to be true to it, is to be in the horror of death, of grief, of the trembling. That there's not really the good news that we think, like, what is to be found. And I'm not sure what did they run screaming from? I don't know. But I have to trust that something did happen, right? Something is afoot. I would not go screaming from a place with no reason. So I believe these women. The aftermath of political execution leaves a people traumatized. It is a transformation of relationship with the person they have known, the person we've known. That is the person we were before, right? And the person who lives in the light of what has happened. What my professor, Shelley Rambo, on trauma and theology said when she was trying to help pastors rebuild after Katrina, the hurricane, she said, there is no after the storm. It is learning how to live with it. There is no reality in which the storm is not present. For me, I came screaming out of the tomb of seminary. Some call it cemetery for that reason, just like the women did. And I turned to many places, and one of the places I turned was this universalist and Unitarian faith that held a boundary with the Christian tradition they came from. The Universalists said, I don't think there's a hell. Like, I don't think that God could stand like being away from the people that God created. Like, that's just, what if there's a deeper ground? What if there's love? And so they were not accepted for that belief, right? And the Unitarians said that maybe Jesus was a man, not equal to God. And so to bring it down, to bring this whole thing down to the ground level, how can we recognize this story and be charitable with it, right? It's a story, people believe it. And with Potter, I didn't just run screaming. I sat not alone, and I wondered. I made peace with the parts of me who believes in nothing but the rising sun, the moon, and the spirit between. The parts of me who enjoy church and people and God in it, and the parts of me that wants none of it. I made peace with all these parts. It's how I live with the storm. I think about the water bugs in the story, and if I were to go back 3 years ago, as my dragonfly self, to the water bug who graduated seminary with their MDiv, the hodgepodge of a dragonfly wouldn't have satisfied them. These different parts of me who believe and don't believe and still yearn for something. And it's okay. I needed time to transform and unwind. There's no straight path to being reborn. It happens. And with the women running in terror from the tomb, maybe the view broke for them like the surface of the water. That nothing happens when we die. We just transform. I wonder if maybe it was a spiritual resurrection. The bugs at the shoreline happened to look up and recognize their friend at the surface. There's parts of me who would rather believe that this life is all that is, that we are flesh suits, and then we die and it's all done. But that's not my religio. That's not my realignment. Because I also know my ego, my little self, starts to get anxious, thinking about all the things I want to do but can't, or how I really can do so little in the short amount of time of a single lifetime on this earth. And if I turn to science, it tells me it has a theory that nothing is created nor destroyed, merely transformed. I wonder if looking at Christianity as a trauma response, we see how we want to edit, revise, rehearse a different story, add to it. And we see the ways that it held to power, like an old dude in Rome who who cannot be wrong, or like the Hebrew Bible and the Christian, or taking the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Testament literally. It's unreasonable with its own tools. And yet, the Christian tradition holds a truth at its core, an energy that cannot be ended but transformed. And this is the work we as UUs can do. You know, democracy might be done in America for now, the way we knew it. And I believe the work of resurrection is to dream, is to imagine a more free world, one based on a common ground, that maybe the site of the tomb that we are in can become a womb. What we resist persists when it comes to trauma, so we must feel to heal, to feel the finality of this moment, and yet to hope, to scream, to be in the terror, that we can trust, that we are part of a timeline much longer than ourselves, a relationship greater than that too. When the spirit and material world cross, when the imagined self, the imagined country, the imagined project of civilization comes to the material world to cross, they create this idea of Christ in the Christian tradition, the willingness to obey the way of transformation through the path of death. We see this in a person who becomes a parent. Not just one person, but a relationship now. The parent dies in a way, no longer one. I believe you might have to become more soft to the ways of this world, more vulnerable, because now as a parent, you might know what it means to love vulnerably and to love this world in a different way and to hope for this world in a different way. And I wonder if we see all of life as one mother dying to her single nature to become more, a way to understand the mystery of resurrection, of seeing that all life wants to live and sustain itself, and does so by dying, by becoming the compost that new seeds can be planted, that there can be rebirth. And I think this is the promise of spring, that the glucose goes down into the roots of the winter and are reborn as buds in the spring, but not the same buds as last spring. They're gonna be different. Based on that winter, based on the weather, based on the rain, how cold it got, right? It's not going to be exactly the same. There is going to be the living with of this time and history, honestly. But maybe as UUs, we can gather in this work of resurrection, of seeing in another what they can't see yet in themselves, the light of creativity, the kind that Robert saw in me, and with humor, with patience and grit, gave me back to myself in a way I couldn't do alone. That work of hope is resistance to the empire benefiting from our despair. We must be in this place as one community, to walk ourselves and to breathe ourselves and to imagine ourselves into a world we want to live in still yet. They can't take our hope from us. We must not let them. So in that way, I want to end with one final example. I was out to dinner this weekend with some congregants from my partner's congregation, and I shared that I had been struggling with my allergies. And one of them sitting beside me instinctively rubbed my back and then said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And she said to me, "When I see folks your age, I just see my own babies." I said, "It's okay. We are here walking each other home." In many ways that we do. Meaning we're all gonna die. What a gift to be like someone's child. Motherhood had cracked her open in a way that saw me as her child, right? And that way of relating to others in a way that she probably wouldn't if she wasn't a parent. And that's resurrection. That's rebirth. I'm sure that maybe it would be a little weird if it was different, but I could see the ways of resurrection. And when we let go of these boundaries, it was a letting go of a boundary between us, our roles, everywhere, and everyone can be a part of this family. And as a country of immigrants, of people who came here willingly, unwillingly, we dream together. We are family together. We are part of a family who includes the trees, the billion-year-old rocks formations, and all the beings and the people of the earth who have gone before and will come here to be with us. There is no separation, but the one we might have found in the traumatized reality that says we are all alone, that this is an unworkable situation, can't possibly be crossed. Resurrection says there is a wider way of knowing than this. And we may walk in this wider way. I wonder if it is time to recognize truly that we're all one. There is a deeper ground. I don't know what it is, but it's the mystery of being human, of being here together. We are facing existential threats to our health, to the polluting of the earth. And I want to go running and screaming with terror that our world, or what our world will be if we keep burning fuel the way we do, and yet we are family. To hold those accountable, we must hold them and do that work of saying, no, this is my earth too. This is my family. And it feels small in some ways. We avoid plastic, we compost, and it feels small, but it's tangible. It's the work of hope. It's the work of saying there is a different way to do this, to be in relationship, to be family. So I'm not sure what to do with Jesus still. But I know that I'm not alone, that we are not alone in the family of things, that all can still be possible, even here. May it be so. Now we will sing our hymn in the gray hymnal, 344.
One day he'll sit on his own, maybe. All right. So, Jesse, I think you're the one. As Jesse passes around the offering basket, I offer a gentle reminder that this community of faith is supported only by your giving. Stewardship is more than just financial donations, but it's also about donating time and talent to help our church. If you can't write a check, please help our church survive and thrive by offering your time and help make coffee and bring snacks. Serve as an usher, serve in other committees, such as helping with worship on occasion. Please donate as you can with your time, talent, and or treasure. All are needed for our church to prosper. Also, if you give cash, please let us know who you are by filling out an envelope so we know who is eligible to vote by giving time, talent, and treasure. However, if this is your first time, you are not obliged to give, as we want this service to be our gift to you. If you are willing to donate your time and talent, please contact a board member and let us know what you would like to do and what you can do to help. Give what you will and what you are able, for you are a generous people. All right. You can do this part. Please join me in our offering prayer. May this offering equip us to inspire love and seek justice. All right. So now we have announcements. There's just a couple announcements that I want to mention, and I think they're well, this is the upcoming speakers. So we've got Joy next week doing a musical sermon, and Benny will do a dance interpretation for us. And then you can see the rest there. We do need to break down today after service and set up and break down next week. It's fun like that. Drag Queen Bingo is next Sunday, the 27th at 3 p.m. At the Moose Lodge. It's a MEUC fundraiser, and the doors open at 2:30. Tickets are $25 in advance and $30 at the door. Or when I bought them yesterday, they were $25 for a pre-order. So somebody's getting me. But anyway, 20 or 25 at the door. I know. Vinny and I will be there. And then the Goshen Market Summer, we need volunteers at the table the first Saturday of each month, June through October. I believe it's about 8 to noon. And is it Peg is running that? So contact Peg if you have any questions or would like to sign up. Oh yeah, there it is. There's Peg. All right, and that is the end of announcements. If you have other announcements, please get them to the folks on the board. They'll get them into the slides for next week's service. All right. So now let's extinguish the chalice. The light of truth and meaning cannot be put out. We are the keepers of this flame until we meet again. All right.
As we go, may we know that we are all together, we are all one, and we can sing of this oneness. And to not give up, to hope, to conspire, to breathe together, until we are here together again. May it be so.
There goes. Make us all where we are a sanctuary, each day holy, and love right through, with thanksgiving. We are a living sanctuary, each made holy and loved right through with thanksgiving. We are a living sanctuary.
Let's go.